Matt, Backyard Builder here. Well, we've completed our room survey. We kind of got our plan in place that we're going to carry out for this renovation. It's time to get started. First thing we need to do though, we have to go through the room and we have to fix the cracks in the foundation wall. It is absolutely imperative that you take care of any moisture issues before you start a basement renovation. Otherwise you risk having your work ruined. You can get mold in your walls, all sorts of garbage like that you really don't want. So do take time, do it right. And you might have to spend a little bit of money at this point, but it's, like I say, it's absolutely imperative that you take care of any moisture issues before you start a renovation project. Otherwise, you could be asking for big trouble in the future. Okay, we've got a crack that runs along our wall here, right up to the window, a little bit over the window. That's not a big deal. That's above grade. We're not going to get anything in there. It's just the foundation is cracked there. But at this point right here, we've got some evidence of water penetration and a little bit of evidence down by the floor where the floor itself was poured over the footing. There's a little bit of evidence of water coming in there. So we're going to take care of those problems and just ensure that we don't have any issues with our renovation in the future. Okay, the first step in any job, of course, especially something like this, is to ensure that your wall surface is clean so that all your glues and adhesives and everything else that you need to fix a crack in the wall are actually going to stick to it. So get yourself out a wire brush, and the only thing you can use here is good old elbow grease. So just get in there and just take off any loose paint, any kind of dirt or anything. Just get in there and get her clean. You can take an air compressor and blow it out afterward, and then once you've got it all cleaned and you're ready to start, then we'll be using an epoxy, an injectable epoxy to fix the crack. And that's really the best way to handle this kind of vertical crack, is to use a vertical crack fix system. And I'll demonstrate that shortly here when we get to that stage here. But let's just get started now and get her cleaned up and ready to go. Okay, now that we've got our crack all cleaned up, the next thing we need to do is start to fix it. And what we're going to be doing for the vertical crack is we're going to be using an injectable polyurethane caulking. And now to do that, we use what's called an injection port system. And you buy these little plastic doohickeys. Basically, it's a T-shaped flange with a little pipe on it, and it comes with a plug attached. Just twist that off, and just take the plug and plug it in the end of the hole. Now that's just temporary. What we're going to do next, we're going to take some glue, and we're going to actually attach the ports over the crack. And now there's a couple different things you can use. You can use I'm using a polyurethane adhesive. You can use Anchor Fix by Sika, or a number of other different products. And basically, all you do, just take your tea and just dab it in the glue, and then just situate it so that the pipe little pipe part is directly over the crack in the wall. Okay? And just put it right in tight and just let it set there. Okay, and then just go on to the next port. Now we're going to be using Sikafix PU, which is the two-part polyurethane expandable foam caulking, and so we're going to be placing our injection ports about 6 inches apart, and that'll allow sufficient room for the product to expand and fill into the crack. And like I say, just go directly over the crack, right in the center. And out, just take your little plug out, just have a look straight down that hole. You should be able to see your crack right in the center of it. Just put that in back in there temporarily, and just continue all the way on up to from the bottom right up to the top of your crack. There you go, and you can see the right in the back there, you can see that crack right through that hole there. Now don't push these in too tight, that's just temporary. I'll show you what they're for here shortly. And my ground level outside is right about here, so I really don't need to go any higher than that, because water, if it comes in, it's going to be coming in the wall through the ground. It's not going to be flowing up and over into the crack. So, really above this point, it's not really that big of a deal once you're above the ground level. So, my last port will be about 6 inches below ground level, and just make sure I get the rest of the crack. This glue that I'm using is a polyurethane construction glue. It's made give super adhesion. Basically this stuff will stick anything to anything, and it will actually stop an active underwater leak. So, but basically all I'm using it for is just to hold these ports in place until I can cement over them. And you'll see what we do there in the next step. Got an interesting arrangement right here. I actually haven't got a continuous crack at this point. What happens is the crack comes down here, it stops, and it starts over here about ½ an inch over and continues on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a crack right at the bottom of the first crack, and then I'm going to continue on 6 inches below that with my ports. So that is why these ports seem to be a little bit closer than the rest of them. That's because they are. Okay, so a little closer examination of my wall, and I actually found another crack in the wall a little farther down. Now this crack isn't quite as big as the first one. Now with the larger cracks, I can probably in around 1/8 of an inch or so, 1/16 of an inch or so. You can just put the ports directly over the crack, and it'll spread through the crack just fine on its own. But the smaller ones, they need to be widened out a bit first. And so what you can do with that, you can take a chisel, and I've got just an ordinary cold chisel and a hammer, and you can just chip it out. Or if you got one of these pick hammers for bricklaying, if you got a good aim, you can just chip it out that way. Or for those of you who are into the power tools, a hammer drill with a chipping bit. Works real nice. You use something like this, actually any of these tools, don't forget to wear your eye protection, your ear protection. These things get noisy, and as well, if you're asthmatic, you're going to want to wear a dust mask as well, because this can be really dusty work, and it'll choke you up really quick. So once again, you just don't forget your safety gear, and have at her. Widen the crack out, and then just put the ports over it as I showed you earlier, and then we'll get to the next step of closing the crack over. Okay, and once we're done, that's basically what the crack should look like. You've got it all channeled out. You've got your ports all over every 6 to 8 inches, and now we're ready for the next step, which is to put the cement plug over it. Okay, now that the mess making is over, it's time to start patching everything. A couple of different things we're going to be doing. For the vertical crack, I've got this super duper instant, almost instant set mortar here, called a C-cassette plug, and basically what we're going to do, we're just going to cover over the channel, and then we use the ports to inject the foam in behind. And so what we're going to do, we're just going to cover the channel over tonight, and we're going to let it dry overnight, and then we'll inject the foam tomorrow morning. And now with this stuff here, it is super duper fast setting. So you don't want to be playing around with this stuff. Once you get to working with it, you've got exactly 2 minutes before it sets. So you don't want to waste any time at all. Basically, it's 3 to 1 straight mix to water. So whatever unit of measure you have, 3 of the powder, and then 1 water to that. And you mix it into a thick paste and apply it to your wall as fast as you possibly can. And the idea is just to cover over the hole. You don't want to pack it in there. You want to to leave it so that it flows into the channel and into the crack. So do make sure your crack is open all the way, and then you once this is set for a few hours, then you can inject your sealer, and the sealer will go into the crack, and it'll expand, and it'll fill up the crack, and your leak is gone. Yeah, your concrete's as good as new after that. And then once we get to that stage, then I'll show you what we're going to do for the base here. Okay, now before we get started actually mixing this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a spray bottle and just wet the crack itself. The reason being that cement tends to be dry, especially after 20, 30, 40 years. It tends to be really dry, and it will actually suck all the water out of your patching compound, and consequently your patching compound won't actually set correctly. So just take a spray bottle, give it some water, get that crack in there nice and damp, and do that before you start mixing, so it's got a little bit of time to absorb into the dried up concrete there. Again, this stuff, like 2-3 minutes working time. I mean, it is fast. So we got our three quarters of a cup. We're going to add our 1/4 cup of water here, and just get started stirring here. And once it works its way into a thick paste, then you get putting her on there, because you don't have much time to work with this. 2-3 minutes working time is it. So quickly get it into a paste, and once you've got that mixed, then just start applying it on over the hole here, and right on top of your ports and everything. Just cement them right in. Just go right over. Don't worry about filling it in too deep. Just get it on. You're going to want to work with small batches with this stuff, because you don't have a whole lot of time to work with it. So just get it on quickly. It's already starting to get nice and stiff, so get it on there. You might have to make 2 or 3 batches, depending on how long your crack is. Again, like I say, you don't have long to work with this stuff. Like this batch is already spent. It's getting a little too stiff to work with already. That's just how fast this stuff sets up. So there you have it. Last a little bit out of there, and make myself another batch. Cover that port completely. Like I say, we're going to let this dry overnight, and then in the morning I will do my foam injection. But that's about it for today. Backyard Builder saying, have a good day. We'll see you next time.